Welcome to the Six Figure Influencer Podcast. I'm so happy that you are here. Today, we are going to continue with more of an energy conversation because that's kind of been the theme lately in this podcast. And we're going to talk a little bit about the power of your energy and how you focus it and how energy can leak and be siphoned from the wrong people and wrong places and things, and how that can affect us as entrepreneurs and as creators and people that are truly here to do something amazing with our businesses and our platforms. So let's get into it. So I don't even want to talk about this anymore. I've been talking about this all week with my mastermind, and I did a training in the No Shame Sales Game group. And I talked about this because it's just important and it's relevant, and I hate giving it more energy, but I had such a breakthrough from something that happened this week. So I'm going to talk about it one more time. And it has to do with a negative review that I got for this podcast. Can you believe it? I got a negative review on this podcast, and it was my first that was typed out and expressed a disapproval, not in the content. Well, it was in the content, but not in I don't know. It was very personal and extremely judgmental. And it got to me. It definitely got to me. And it really threw me off for the better half of my day. I saw it and I was just like, whoa, ouch. That didn't feel good. And yeah, it happened. And I've gotten not a review like that before, but I've gotten negative feedback before. I've shared with you things like that. And it's part of it, especially lately. I feel like I've been reaching a bit more people, and I know that this is part of it. But the whole situation was extremely eye-opening to me, especially in terms of leadership and energy and just so many different things. So this is how it went down. It was mid-afternoon. I got an email that tells me the stats of my podcast. I get it every week. I opened it up, saw that I had a new review, saw the negative review, and it was like I was derailed for the rest of the day. Totally just took my attention off of what I was doing. And I responded, not to her, but I posted it on my stories, and I said a couple of things. I gave, peace of my mind, mainly just because it was so personal and it had to do with religion. And I just felt like it was unnecessary, but I responded. And after that, I had every intention of sitting down and making a post about it. It gave me, it fired me up, and in a good way, it gave me all of these ideas for quote graphics, the red flag quote graphics. And I got into Canva, cranked 6 out, and I was going to post all 6, and I was going to give a piece of my mind and talk about this. And again, I was not going to call out the person individually. I don't even know who the person is, but it was just I don't know. It was just unnecessary. Luckily, Chris was out of town last week, and at that time, Cruz woke up from his nap, and I was back on mommy duty. And side note, it has been quite a week with my sweet 3-year-old. I don't know if it was the full moon or Mercury coming out of retrograde or what is happening. I mean, I know that 3-year-olds are crazy most of the time anyway, but it's just been another level. So let's just say I had my hands full until he was ready to go to bed. And so between the time that I saw the review and the time that I got him to bed, it was, let's say, 3 or 4 hours. So that was a lot of time to process, a lot of time to kind of like take a deep breath, process, get my wits back about me, like, just think and remember some very important lessons, some of which I'm going to share with you here. And by the time I got him down and I got my computer back out, because I still wanted to make this post, I sat down and I went to type, and it was gone. The anger, the frustration, the excitement to like talk about this, it was total, it had left my body. And I didn't want to fake it. Like everything I put on social media is very in real time, truly how I feel, like in that energy. I don't batch content. I don't like fake emotions for a purpose of a post. So to sit there and try and like write this out and try and conjure up some of that anger again, it was pointless in my opinion. So I didn't. And the reason why is because I had paused and taken a deep breath and had some time to cool off. And also I had remembered something really, really important. And I don't know where I learned this from, but I'm really glad that I did. And it was this. I asked for this. This is what I wanted. Not the negative review per se, but I've prayed time and time again, countless times, for more, right? For more of a platform, more influence, more podcast listeners, more success, more impact, more, right? That's why I'm doing this. That's why I know you are probably doing the business and doing the things that you're doing to impact more, to create more, to experience more. And with the more comes more, right? Positive and negative. There's both sides. And I think where a lot of us kind of mess up, or maybe it's just like a kind of like a naiveness to us when we're new in our business, is the more sounds great because we're thinking of one side of it. We're thinking of the positive. We're thinking of the people that get us and that hear us and that actually support what we're doing and are being supported by us. We're thinking of like the good things, the excitement, the happy days, the positive revenue. We're thinking of the wins, the collaborations, the experiences, the positive. But with the more comes more. With the positive must come negative. There's duality in everything. You cannot want, or you can want more of the positive and not be okay with the negative. But if that's how you really feel, if you can't be okay with both, then you're not going to go very far. I prayed for more and I'm getting more. I'm reaching more people. I am impacting more women, and I'm also pissing a lot more people off. That's part of it. So in the time that I got the review and the time that I sat down to express myself further, I had remembered this, that if you want more, you have to be ready for more. Both sides. You have to be able to handle both. Because you're going to grow at the same level of both, right? Like you're not just going to all of a sudden wake up and have this like massive business and not experience negative. Like it's not going to be until you wake up with 6-figure, multi-six, 7-figure business, and all of a sudden only then are you going to be getting negative reviews and negative feedback and trolls. It's going to happen on the way up. So if every time somebody has something negative to say to you, you freak out, cower, hide, make it mean something personal, take it way too personally, and let that throw you off every single time, just like I let that happen to me, just like it happened to me. If you do that every single time and like really let it affect you, you're not going to grow very fast. It's going to stunt your growth essentially. And it was such an eye-opener for me because like it took out an afternoon of mine, an afternoon that I could have been serving all of you in different ways. But instead, I was stewing over one negative review. And what is so insane is the podcast that this person was, the catalyst for this negative review for this person was my 50K month one. I've received more positive reviews on that. And if you're wondering the podcast number, if you haven't heard, it's, hold on. Okay. It's episode 127. And I've received more positive feedback from that episode, I think more than any other episode that I've ever done. I've received more messages, DMs, comments on that episode specifically. It has to be in the hundreds of people that have reached out to me and have said something positive about that. I still feel so good. I'm so proud I put that episode out. And one outward negative review threw me off for an afternoon. And it showed me, wow, like what about when I'm bigger? What about when I have double the followers, triple the followers, double and triple this, the positive and the negative? What's going to happen when I open my phone one day and there's more than one of those? Or, this can happen in so many different ways. Then how am I going to react? It was very eye-opening. So I just it was a really cool reminder and lesson for myself. And I just got to kind of anchor back into the idea, the question, like, can I handle both? Am I ready? If I'm really ready for more, can I handle both? And I encourage you to ponder that question yourself, because nobody skates by and doesn't experience part of the negative. That it's just part of it. That's not a limiting belief. That's just like where there's light, there's dark, right? More people means more people, good people and miserable people. And I'm not saying that every negative review means that person's a troll or that person is wrong, right? There are going to be times where you and I get things wrong and say things wrong, or just say something that somebody who loves us doesn't agree with and says something about. That doesn't mean that they're a troll. That doesn't mean that they're bad, right? I want to hear your thoughts on things. I invite honest feedback. It was just like this particular one, the way that it really rubbed me the wrong way. And, so the question is, can you handle both? Because only when you really can, and you can walk with both sides of that, can you truly experience the growth that you say that you desire. And I shared a little piece of this in my stories, a little taste of what I'm talking about here. And I got a question from my girl, Cassidy, and she asked me, she said, will you please do a podcast on this? And she said, like, how do you handle both sides when you're a quote, sensitive Sally? And then she said, like, I know I'm a boss, but I'm a marshmallow with a lot of feelings. That's what she said. And here's my response to that. Same. And I used to think that in order to be okay with more, in order to create like a massive business and reputation, that you had to have a really thick skin. And maybe you do. I mean, maybe I think over time, just naturally, you do grow more of a thick skin. But I used to think that the really successful people were the ones who gave 0 Fs, right? Who like let it roll right off of their back, didn't care, like took it head on, had no feelings about it, or like trained themselves. I thought that maybe that was something that you could learn or just happens over time, like a hardening of your emotions. But what I'm learning, what I'm kind of starting to understand is, shocker, it's okay to have feelings. The goal is not to not feel. The goal is to not numb yourself and or pretend that you don't care. Like, you're a human, and most of us listening are women, right? With like beautiful feminine energy. Like we are meant to feel, everybody, and that is okay. It is okay, and it is normal to feel hurt when someone says something hurtful, or when somebody misunderstands you or judges you. It's okay to feel hurt when somebody outwardly disagrees with you in an unkind way. I think it'd be weirder if you didn't have feelings about that, right? So like, don't make yourself wrong for having emotions and not loving, right? And I think that's something that you have to keep in mind too. It's next time that this happens for me, it's still going to affect me. Even talking about this right now, and as much as I've reminded myself this past week that like, I signed up for this, yes, I can hold both. I'm okay with both. I can walk with both. Even so, it's still going to hurt when somebody is ugly on the internet. But I'm not going to make that mean anything bad about me. Here's what matters. And here's what I encourage us all to do. What matters and what you really want to pay attention to is how you let that affect you moving forward, right? Not that it bothers you. That's fine. But how do you respond and how do you act accordingly? Do you let people that don't get it hold you back? Do you let these negative things and fear of trolls and fears of negative reviews and fear of judgment and more visibility, do you let that hold you back? Do you let that make you play small or say things that you normally would say, but out of fear of pissing somebody off, you're going to keep it in? Because if that happens, that's something we want to look at. That is something you want to pay attention to, because there's going to be people that love you and people that you're just not for them. It's going to happen. And the way that I think about this is like ice cream flavors, right? Whenever, a lot of us, when we start brands on the internet, we're more vanilla. We're more basic, safe. Everybody's cool with vanilla, right? Like, nobody has anything negative to say about vanilla because vanilla's basic AF. Like, you're not saying anything. You're not doing anything of substance at vanilla. So you kind of you skate by. You're under the radar. But as you become more bold, as you discover who you are as a business owner and stand more firm in a mission and pick a side on matters, you have picked an ice cream flavor. And there's not one person, or there's not one ice cream flavor on the planet that everybody vibes with. There's just not. So you have to remember that. So if you are Rocky Road and you're showing up as Rocky Road and somebody comes up to you and says, ew, I'm allergic to Rocky Road, you're stupid. And then you say, uh-oh, I can't be Rocky Road anymore. I need to hide. Even though there are thousands, probably millions of people where Rocky Road is their absolute favorite. They would pick Rocky Road first over anything else every single time. But because one person who was having a bad day projected onto you, you're going to say, oh man, I need to change flavors, or I need to go back to vanilla. That's what we want to pay attention to. So you can reflect on that. Do you let the people that don't get it, that aren't vibing with you, hold you back, or do you take it on the chin and keep moving forward? And at the moment, I was focusing on the wrong person, right? And I had to remember like my power and my energy. And in that moment, for an afternoon, I was focusing my energy and power on somebody who had already gone. That in the grand scheme, like, doesn't matter. When I have like all of these other amazing people that are vibing with what I'm doing, I let that like siphon my energy. So I just want you, that's something that I want you to remember. Like, it's okay to have feelings, but how do you move forward and how do you respond, right? Like, who are you attracting with your response? Are you attracting more pettiness, or are you attracting more of the leaders and the people that get it? So we all need to remember that we only have so much energy a day. And that energy can create amazing, beautiful things and can like drastically affect people positively or negatively. How do you want to spend it? What do you want to focus on? People that need your gifts and magic, or those that are committed to not getting it? It's such a powerful reminder. So I hope this was helpful. I am certainly not trying to focus any more energy on this, because I know so many of you are amazing and have been loving the conversations that we've been having lately. So I choose to keep my eyes focused on you and to keep showing up for you and sharing my heart and soul for you. And sometimes, shocker, I am not going to get it right. Don't tell Chris Reeves that. I don't think he's ever experienced that in our marriage. I'm not going to get it right every time. So just like I think you would want other people to give you grace, I ask for grace sometimes in those moments, and feel free to let me know. But in the meantime, I'm going to give it my very best shot for you. And I hope it lands, and I hope it supports you and improves your day in some way. And I hope that you get little nuggets from it that you can take and apply to your own business so that you can then create your own magic, because you are a powerful MFM boss. And that is a fact. And I love you. And I will see you here next week. Mwah.